right, guys, today we are answering your questions for June 2021. I asked you to answer. I asked you to ask me questions on Instagram that you want answered, and these are your Instagram questions. So first one comes from, I got a bunch of them here. First one comes from Davis Ben, and he says, what size would you move hatchlings from a simple starter setup to a deeper natural one? It's gonna vary basically on the type of turtle and the species that you're working with. So with something like my Eastern River cooters and cooters that I hatch out and small musk turtles, I always start them off in like one of those concrete mixing tubs, those black concrete mixing tubs. And then starting from there, I let them get about an inch and a half. And then by the time they're 2 inches, I'm ready to move them outdoors into a stock tank or a larger tub setup, and they do fine. Now, occasionally I do find some that hatched in the ground and they made it completely through winter and everything, and I just find them in the pond and they did okay. So hatchlings are a little more durable than we give them credit for, but if you have the ability to kind of look out for them and start them off small, that's always a good way to go, especially in captivity. You know, the size is going to depend on the species. So any of your basking turtles around 2.5 inches, you can probably move it to a bigger setup and it'll kind of rocket on up to 4 inches and bigger pretty quickly once you do that. With musk turtles, around 2 inches is another good marker to kind of move things up. And, you know, I hope that kind of answers your question. I'm trying to answer these quick before the rain moves in. Mr. Sama asks, hi there, I've seen on one of your video that stinkpot can enlarge its head just like loggerhead. Can razorback enlarge? Yeah, any of the musk turtles, when the diet is there, whether it's snails or little clams or something, they have the ability to adapt to that diet. So their jaws are gonna enlarge, they're gonna develop these plates inside the jaws, they're gonna develop enlarged jaw muscles on the back of the head, and this gives them the ability to crunch through all those hard shells. Different species have that ability more developed than others. Obviously, loggerheads are super well known for getting that. It's also known as megacephalic or macrocephalic, and that's the ability to grow a large head. Stinkpots, particularly in one location in Comal, Texas, are particularly well known for that. And I've also seen photos from my buddy Grover Brown, follow Grover. Grover Brown has found razorbacks, I believe up in the Ozarks area where they've tremendous heads. So yeah, all of the musk turtles are pretty much capable of that same head enlargement. Head enlargement. What is my favorite plant to put with turtles? That's a tough one. I really like, most of the ones that I like are invasive, but I like them because they help filter the water so well. So I lean into things like water hyacinth, water lettuce, frogbit, duckweed, parrot's feather. Any one of those could be my favorite. It just depends on the application. For aquatic turtles, any of those do really well. Just be careful that you don't let them get loose because they can become invasive and kind of take over areas where they're not native. Jose Martinez, 0109. How come your turtles never fight? Mine are hurting each other. Any recommendations? Yeah, my turtles do occasionally fight. You know, I try to put things together that generally get along and do well in a social setup, but they're still individuals. You still have to kind of watch them. They're like little kids, man. You have to watch and make sure nobody's picking on anybody. Nobody's trying to steal food all the time. You're gonna have some that are more outgoing, some that are more shy. So I'm always watching. Every day I'm up in the morning, I'm in the afternoon, any bit of free time I have, I'm out here and I'm just watching everything. Generally, you just kind of monitor those things and always have a plan B. Always have another place that if you need to move something, it'll have a place where you can put it. And eventually you kind of catch a stride and you figure things out a bit more and you can keep things kind of more copacetic, if that's a word. JCito777, have I noticed red-eared sliders invading my local waterways? Yeah, I find them pretty much anywhere that is a urban stream or pond or anything near where people are. I'm gonna find red-eared sliders. It's kind of sad, but that's reality. So many people get turtles and they think that they're doing the right thing by letting it go to have a better life, but they don't realize they're letting something go that doesn't belong here. So I see them a lot. When I can, I try to remove them, but I don't always have the means or I'm not always prepared to do that. Americana Mamushi, do ASTs have a different diet than commons? I think they're more carnivorous because of their lure. Yeah, I mean, both alligator snappers and common snappers are very predatory as young turtles, and then as adults, both of them will eat a lot of, you know, vegetable and plant matter. Alligator snapping turtles really love nuts and fruits. They'll eat a lot of plants. in some locales, they may become specialized on a certain thing. Like when you get around like coastal Louisiana and Mobile Bay, they're gonna be eating a lot of crabs and crustaceans. Then you get over like Flint River, they're gonna be eating a lot of mollusks. And then in the rest of their range, they're gonna be more generalists. The common snapper is, I would consider it to be more of an active predator. So actively moving around, hunting around, looking for food, more active hours during a day. And the way a common snapper behaves is almost more like a crocodilian or a monitor lizard compared to the alligator snapping turtle, who is going to spend most of the day kind of tucked away somewhere, and then at night come out and forage for food, look for things to eat. But overall, yeah, I would say they're both pretty carnivorous, but they both will eat vegetable matter and kind of a mix of things. Really awesome turtles though. Along the same line, another alligator snapper question. It's.Ferris_not_Farish. Dude, this screen name is hilarious. I'm gonna put it right here. Do gator snappers need UV? I found varying answers when I've looked. All reptiles need UV. That's my personal opinion. That's why I house everything outside. The great UV bulb in the sky is the best way to go. So I always provide them with UV. Alligator snapping turtles don't really bask that often. There is some research showing that they do a little bit of basking in the wild. In captivity, I've noticed most basking is usually indicating that something is making them uncomfortable or unhealthy. But if you do see them occasionally bask for short periods and they appear, you know, bright-eyed and alert, that's probably a bit of healthy basking, and you would definitely want to have a UV bulb, a UVB bulb for such an occasion. CSTRA. I'm gonna put this name down here too. What is the largest basking turtle on the planet currently? That's a good question. I don't know what the largest on the planet would be, because I don't know how much the Batagur bask, right? I would have to say it would either be a Batagur, but I would almost say more likely would be the Podocnemis expansa, the giant South American river turtle. That's one of the largest aquatic turtles in the world. They're like alligator snapper size, but they're a big swimming active side neck. They can actually communicate with each other underwater, which is really cool. The largest basking turtle in the US is going to be this guy. River cooters get really, really big. That's why I always tell people when they say they want a river cooter, be prepared for a big turtle because they get big. But the largest in the world, I'm gonna have to say Podocnemis expansa. What is my oldest turtle or tortoise? The oldest one that I have is definitely gonna be my yellowfoot tortoise. I got her 12, 13 years ago. She was in a pet store, and for 5 years before I ended up getting her from this pet store, they had her and they couldn't sell her because A, they wanted too much, and B, they were keeping her terrible. And I just got tired of seeing her in there, and I decided to rescue her, and I traded in a bunch of snakes that I had at the time and gave them some cash on top of it to get her. And she's a really old yellowfoot tortoise. Her shell's like completely smooth. Like, she has some new growth coming in, but for a tortoise to get completely smooth, it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of wear. And so I have no idea how old she is. I would say probably 50 years at least. I love that tortoise. She's the best. So she's definitely the oldest tortoise that I have, and she's a real hoot. She likes to bite my toes. All right, here's a good one. Colonian.Carter asks, my favorite chrysemes, which is the painted turtles. My favorite painted turtle, I'm probably gonna have to say the southern painted turtle, man. I love that orange stripe. Getting to go to Mississippi and see their native habitat, I was really blown away by like how beautiful they are as a painted turtle, and really one of my favorites that I've gotten to see, and really glad that I got to see him in the wild. That's the best way to see him, and better than some reptile show. All right, so thank you guys so much for your questions. I had a great time answering them. We managed to beat the rain. We didn't get rained on, so that's always a plus. That's always a plus. So I'll catch you guys next week. I gotta go over to my parents for Father's Day, so hope you guys are all good. Take care, peace, see you guys later.